vicinity, and any enemy in my vicinity gets shot in the head like John Kennedy. I dealt with triple beam scales to get more cream sales. Resort to plan B, then plan C if my scheme fails. I'm trying to make my genes swell with extreme mail, and I got arsenal with the art to flow and heart to work hard for more. So I hope you make preparations for your funeral reservations, because when I'm paper chasing, I get serious like the book of Revelation. Good evening. My name is Doulos. And what you just heard was lyrics that I wrote before I came to know Jesus. Those lyrics, or what you call bars, was written when I was a part of a group called Bad Influence. And my name was Ant Diddley Dog. Those lyrics, or those bars, okay, wait a minute. So if you are engaged and I have your attention, I need you to say something with me.
Yes, sir.
Say bars.
Bars.
Bars. So now you speak in hip hop language. Bars. Because bars is just a synonym for lyrics. And to help you out just a little bit further, maybe you understand stanza. So these bars, or these lyrics, in the minds of some, may be a legend in the underground hip hop scene in the Bay Area. But these same bars has brought enmity between some of you in this genre called hip hop.
Yes.
Now, in spite of all of those facts, I want to still make a bold proclamation, and I just want to say that hip hop is of the Lord. As you can see, I overthought this.
Yeah. Now is it you? Seeing the blind, do you all fall in the deep end? Singing. Now is it you? I do believe it. If you ain't speaking what he's saying, you ain't got to teach it. Communication is okay if you in love. That's what he said. Man is drawn away by his own lust. Yeah, that's what he said. When he said, let's just keep doubting. That ain't what he said. Faith like a mustard seed can move mountains. Yeah, that's what he said. What he said. Mistreat your wife until it hurts. That's what he said. Husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church. Yeah, that's what he said. What he said. Feel your cup turn up. That ain't what he said. The works of men, the heavens, the earth will burn up. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, I hear.
Again, hip hop is of the Lord. Now, some of you might be saying, you know what? Where is this man coming from? I think I might have some issues with his theology. Did somebody check his hermeneutic? But what if I said that music is from the Lord? And that hip hop as an art is a form of music, and God is using music to encourage and to reach people. Now, before I move on, I want to join in on a session. But we're walking in like a movie has already started, right? We're starting at Acts 9, verses 17 through 22. And all of you know Saul. Saul, he was a Pharisee, right, when it came to the law. And he was also, some people call a thug. But we know he wasn't a thug. He was ready to do whatever it took to proclaim God. But as something new was ushering in, the way he was responding to God was off balance. So we walk in on a particular moment where Ananias needs to meet Saul. He needs to meet him in Damascus, and he needs to talk to him about some things, because Saul is already struck by the Lord. He's already blind. He already took his road to Damascus. And the Bible talks about Ananias. He went his way and he entered into the house, and putting his hands on him, he said, "Brother Saul, the Lord, even Jesus that appeared unto thee in the way as thou camest has sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight and be filled with the Holy Ghost." And immediately there fell from his eyes as it had been scales, and he received sight forthwith and arose and was baptized. And when he had received meat, he was strengthened. Then Saul certain days with the disciples which were at Damascus, and straightway he preached Christ in the synagogue, that he is the Son of God. But all that heard him were amazed and said, Is this not he that does destroy them which call on this name in Jerusalem, and came hither for that intent, that he might bring them bound unto the chief priest? But Saul increased the more in strength, and confounded the Jews which dwelt at Damascus, proving this is the very Christ. Now, Paul's in a situation where he was not actually doing what God wanted him to do. And everybody saw it. They were victims. They saw the murders. They saw Christians being pulled into jail. But God decided to use what others thought was unusable to do his will. So when I say hip-hop is from the Lord, hip-hop has got a bad rap. Because we have seen so many things done through hip-hop that just doesn't fit the Lord's agenda. Now let's talk about the origins of hip-hop. Now I know all of you might want hip-hop's origin to be in Malibu, but hip-hop was not born in Malibu. Hip-hop was born in the hood or the ghetto, right? It was an art form or music that was born out of the impoverished and the disenfranchised. When you search the history of hip-hop, it goes back to 1973 in the Bronx. And there was a group of individuals in the Bronx, and they didn't have the opportunity to go and take vacations and travel the world. They had to find some things to do on their own. So they met and they just listened to music. It really was instrumentals, and it was started by a fellow named DJ Herc. And he would come to these gatherings and he would just play the music, right? And that's where hip hop was born. It was born out of, I will play this music, I'll get the microphone, and I'll get the crowd encouraged to join in on the music. And then the MC came along, the mic controller, and he grabbed the mic, and now you got lyrics going on with the music, and now all of a sudden, all of this energy and all of this stress and all of the things of the environment that might be troubling them, now they had an outlet. Hip hop was born in the ghetto, but it got a bad rap. Rap got a bad rap, right? Because many, when they look at the origin and they look at the history and they look at the reputation of hip hop, they automatically assign it as being ungodly, just because it was being misused. But just because something is being misused doesn't mean it's useless. See, we have to understand that God has given us so much at our disposal, but he's also given the world that as well. See, he reigns on the just and the unjust, and it just depends on the driving force behind it, right? So, but this misunderstanding, I'm convinced, about hip-hop is causing the church to miss many divine opportunities. We have many divine opportunities to catch or to connect with our young people. But instead of us embracing it and trying to understand it, we're pushing it away. Hip-hop is of the Lord.
Yes, sir.
My name is Doulos, and I'm a Christian hip-hop artist. Now, as we consider looking at what's going on in the world, we look at hip-hop, and the world has embraced hip-hop and called it its own over the last 40 years. It has celebrated its resilience and its creativity, and all of these things have allowed it to grow and to flourish. And the rhyme schemes even delineate those who are good and those who actually don't have what? Bars. So you gotta catch that. You gotta catch that lingo. Because you got to understand that, just imagine if you caught a young child listening to some music and the communication is not where it needs to be. And you walk up to that child and say, who you listen to? Man, this sounds like he got bars. Guess what? You just opened up some communication, right? And possibly you'll have a proclamation CD, which is my CD, and say, hey, check this gentleman out and see if he got some bars too. All right? So, but as we look at hip hop, as we look at it in general, we have to understand that the Lord himself, he sometimes uses cultural staples to reach people and possibly create cultural staples. Right? So he works in these mysterious ways, I'm convinced, to get the gospel out to a new generation. And I think it takes men like the men of Issachar to come out and to understand the need of the times and share that word. Now, hip hop also has the ability to minister. Now, one of the things we need to understand is that music itself has the ability to minister, right? So the Bible says that we are to admonish one another with psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. So the bottom line is writing lyrics and stanzas and bars and being able to do those things, it's a proven method. There's feeling involved in this music, right? There's teaching involved in this music. It's a proven record. So why not? Why not use something that's already proven to connect with our young people? And a lot of our young people have a lot more energy than us, and they'll be able to go out and share the gospel. So a lot of times we like to sit in the church house and hang out and do this. Our young people, they have to expend some of that energy. True. But in order for them to expend that energy or to feel like, man, this is okay to do it, they need our support.
That's true. True.
So whether you like it or not, your children are listening to hip hop.
Yeah.
So why not encourage them to be driven in the right direction?
That's right.
So I just shared with you at the beginning some bars that I wrote before I became a child of God. Now I have what I call blood bars. And I think I got some more for you.
Okay.
Then one came in a volume of a book, and he told me I can reclaim the value that was took. Categorically, he was likened to the mass majority. He was Christ the Son, and he spoke of one who had authority, but my situation is wickedness and misbehaving. He said, I know, but listen, this is propitiation. I am the God that adjudicates by withholding wrath. I am the God that illuminates the chosen path. I am the God that buys you with my own blood. I am the God who defines you by my own love. And when I heard what he said, I couldn't dry my eyes, no lie. Every hair on my head is itemized. Now I realize that I'm not worthy, but I was worth him becoming less than the angels. He became flesh and was tested, overcame death, then the chains broke, naming me a saint, and I'm thankful. Now, hip-hop is founded on 3 tenets. One of them, of course, is youthfulness. Another one is rebellion. But another powerful component of it is messaging. Now, the power of hip-hop is embedded in those who feel, those who have experience, those who have the creativity to write. Now, one thing that we need to know, that when we talk about young people, and all of us in here who are over 25 remember what it was like to be young. There was a study that was released not too long ago that said the human brain is not fully developed until 25 years old.
It's true.
And I always wondered, like, why my car insurance so high? Like, if I'm under 25. Because usually, before you get 25, you make the worst decisions that you can make in your life before that age, right? So structurally, your brain is underdeveloped, and guess what? Functionally, it is too. right? So at that time, sometimes we feel as young people overwhelmed with life, right? We're trying to find ourselves. We're trying to figure out who we are. We're a little bit rebellious and all of these different things. And hip hop has that freedom to feel. It has that freedom to express. It has that freedom to bump heads. So while you're hearing all the adults around you saying you need to do this, you need to do that, now you're connected to a form of art where you can just say, this is what I'm going through. So, and also you need to understand this, that music itself is not always designed to push a particular agenda, a moral code. Sometimes you're just expressing. You're just saying something. You're just confessing. And a lot of times that's the platform that these young people are connected to. So we have to start listening better, and we have to start making sure that our young people feel relevant in the church. Because that is an issue in the church today, and the young people become disenfranchised because we're not accepting who they are and what they like. They get disencouraged by our worship services sometimes. Not necessarily the actual service, but how we actually communicate with them. We need to be able to have more communication with our young people and at least learn a little bit about the culture of hip hop, because it's not going nowhere. They thought it was a fad 40 years ago, but it's still here. So, it being still here, we see that it's flourishing, and now we gotta ask these questions. You know, why is hip hop flourishing? Well, the easy answer is that it's flourishing because it's of the world. I mean, the world is going to connect or protect its own. But the other answer is, what is making hip hop so relevant and appealing? What about it is making everybody flock to it? Now, the reason why I was drawn to hip hop is because I grew up in East Oakland. My parents divorced when I was very, very young. I stayed with my mother. At that time, when my dad left, I started to express myself in ways that my mom just wasn't agreeing with. So when I look at hip hop, I look at an outlet of expression. I said earlier about feeling. And sometimes because of this underdeveloped mind, we get so caught up, as young people get so caught up, we feel like we're actually the oppressed, right? We feel like the older people who keep telling us what to do, keep giving us these rules without the relationship is oppressing us. And rules without relationship equals rebellion. So I had rules, but when the split happened, I felt like the relationship split as well. One of the things that made me embrace hip hop is it felt free. I was able to write and express. And I didn't have nobody breathing on my back saying, that's not right. You can't say that. You can't do that, right? I was just able, it was almost like therapeutic. It was almost like I was in therapy, but the therapist just had to listen. He couldn't say anything, he just had to listen. And that's how I got through sometimes, through songs. Certain songs with certain subject matters connected with how I was feeling at that time. And it connected all these synapses in my brain, and now I'm getting through it. And the question is, how do you get through certain times when you're not able to actually talk to people in a way that they want you to communicate with them? There has to be some other things to help you through that. I was reading a book not too long ago called The Cross and the Lynching Tree. And it was by James H. Cone, and it was talking about that era in the United States. And one of the questions that he posed was, how is it that the oppressed got through that time of terror? How did they get through it? And two things were brought up, because those were the times where rebellion or protecting yourself or protesting, that wasn't an option, right? So one of the two things he mentioned was religion and music. So they were able to grab something, take it, and exercise what they were feeling at that time, and were getting through it. They were able to say something through the actual music itself. So the music was helping them through the process. And that's happening to our children today. Because really, their minds is underdeveloped. Sometimes we'll be like, what are you, did an alien just kidnap you? Or what's going on, right? But at the same time, behind the scenes, they're getting their therapy through music. And we have to be a part of that, because sometimes they could be on the wrong course with the type of therapy that they're getting. Again, it's centered on messaging. And the hip hop that we have today, it has good things in it, deep, dense things. And those individuals who seem like they wouldn't be able to decipher it, nowadays they're able to tell you, this is what it's saying, this is what a bar is, this is what swag is, he was gassing. I just threw a couple more words out there for you. But they're able to decipher some of the messaging in the music that we have today. So you're able to hear the heart of the music. Some of the notable contributions was NWA. If any of you guys have heard of NWA, they actually is from around here somewhere, right? Right? And they had music based on social injustice, right? You also had a group, or this other fella named Macklemore. Anybody heard of Macklemore before? He came out with a music talking about same-sex love. And everybody is gravitating to this because they're being open and they're being honest, right? Even though it's a course that we might necessarily agree with, but we know that they're connecting to the music and to the culture and to the environment. So we already talked about the hormones. We already talked about how they, here's a term right here, another one called woke. All right? So woke. So what woke is saying that you are okay with the absence of the traditional sophistication of the world, right? And you understand that you are not duped by the establishment. You understand what's going on in the world today, right? Am I right, Jason? You understand what's going on. And you're not duped by what's going on. And the problem is that it can be misinterpreted. Like your fight is against the establishment, but actually your fight is against principalities and powers of the air. And that's where we come in. We like that you have passion. We like that you have desire, but let me put you on this route. I'm going to show you how to do it. Oh, you know how to rap too? Oh, we really going to get this thing going. So there's another group right there called Public Enemy. And they had a song called Fight the Power that was talking about social injustice. What I want you to think about really quick, because I am running out of time, is that what did you all eat this morning? Just think about the first thing you eat this morning, because we're gonna give you a rap name. So whatever you ate this morning, that's gonna be your rap name, but you have to put Lil in front of it. And Lil is a abbreviation of little, because they got rappers right now called Lil Uzi, Lil Wayne. So whatever you ate this morning, that's your rap name. So just think about what you ate. So what's your rap name?
Lil Bacon.
Lil Bacon. So if Lil Bacon had the task of writing a song called Fight the Power based on your beliefs, what would that song be about? What would that song be about? You can have the same passion, you can have the same desire, you can have the same skill level with your wordplay and bars, but you will be using it to glorify God. So the power, again, is the principalities and powers of the air. That's what we're fighting. So many slides. So just as the Lord used Saul when those around said it's no way that you could be using this man. He actually literally was having Christians killed and thrown into prison. People feel so strongly about hip hop and they say you cannot be using hip hop. It talks about murder, it talks about drugs, it talks about sex. Of course it does. But what do you have in your possession that's outside of the pulpit that you can use to glorify God and teach? You cannot tell me that you're using the pulpit only to share the gospel. Just think about what you have at your disposal. Do you use your cell phone to send encouraging text? Maybe send an email or a call? Maybe get a t-shirt? And every time I wear this t-shirt, almost every time someone, when I give this t-shirt away, I say, you better be ready for an emergency Bible study. Because you get stares and you get talk. But I can use this t-shirt. I guarantee you there's a t-shirt in the world with derogatory words on it. Do I say your t-shirt is ungodly? It has an ungodly message on it, but the framework, I can use that. Scratch yours off and put this on. So what can you do? If you actually don't have bars, you can support those who do. And you also can get to learn about the hip hop culture. Get to learn about the language. Get to learn about the dress. Get to learn about the ideology. Learn about it. The world has made it its own, but we can also use it. Yeah. And Caruso Music is a record label that I founded 4 years ago. Now it's 4 brothers right now. We've been working for the last 4 years, and we're trying to push the message. If you go to carusomusic.com, you'll see Jason on there looking like a superstar, proclaiming the gospel. You'll see myself on there, and then you'll see the things that we're doing. And we're getting people to say, man, I like that music, and I'm encouraged by it to continue to move for the Lord. I invited a person to do a song with me. Her name is LaToya London, and she was a contestant on American Idol. She was not a child of God when I invited her to do it. I said, you from Oakland? I'm from Oakland. Let's just get together and do this collaboration. When I met her, she was talking about, the sun, the moon, and all these different things, and I was just sharing with her by how I was living and how we were interacting with each other about the Word of God. So after the project was done, she moved back to Georgia, and maybe, a year later, she said, and I have the message still, Anthony, I'm sorry, hey Doulos, I just told you guys you guys need to just stick with my stage name. Hey Doulos, I had to call you first. I just got baptized. I remember you was telling me about God, and I ended up falling into a Church of Christ in Georgia, and I was like, it sounded like what A. Doulos was talking about. And she ended up becoming a child of God. But, so what's the question? We did a hip-hop track together. I just shared the message, but who actually pulls and draws the heart? A soul got saved because of a collaborative effort in hip-hop music. So if God is saving souls in the most unlikely places, then you guys can support it. I'll do it without you, but I would love to do it with you. And I talked about all this stuff already. Caruso Music. So, in the end, the structure is there for us. We actually put what we want in that structure. Thank you.